Thanks, Senator Sanders. Senator Tom Udall is a junior senator from New Mexico and offered one of the first amendments in the Senate on this subject. Glad you're here today, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, and good afternoon, Chairman Durbin, Chairman Leahy, and Senator Coons. In January 2010, the Supreme Court issued its opinion in Citizens United versus FEC. 2 months later, the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals decided Speech Now versus FEC. These two cases opened the door to super PACs. Millions of dollars now pour into negative and misleading campaign ads. This is poisoning our democracy, and often we don't even know who is doing the poisoning. Our campaign finance system was in trouble before these opinions. We have been on this dangerous path for a long time. The Citizens United and Speech Now decisions just picked up in pace, but the court laid the groundwork many years ago. We can all go back to 1976. That year, the court held in Buckley versus Vallejo that restricting independent campaign expenditures violates the First Amendment right to free speech. In effect, money and speech are the same thing. This is tortured logic. It is divorced from the reality of political campaigns, and it is the basis for the court's ruling in Citizens United. The outcome is hardly surprising. Americans' right to free speech is now determined by their net worth. For average Americans, they get one vote. They go to the polls and cast their ballot with millions of others. But for the wealthy and the super wealthy, Buckley says they get so much more, says that they can spend unlimited amounts of money to influence our elections. And now, with Citizens United, that right has been extended to corporations and other special interests. The damage is clear. Elections become more about the quantity of cash and less about the quality of ideas, more about special interests and less about public service. We have a broken system based on a deeply flawed premise. There are only two ways to change this. The court could overturn Buckley and Citizens United, which is unlikely with its current ideological makeup. Or we amend the Constitution. We overturn the previous bad court decisions and prevent future ones. Until then, we will fall short of real reform. Until then, the flood of special interest cash will continue. That is why I, along with several members of this subcommittee, introduced S.J. Res. 29 last November. We're up now to 23 co-sponsors, with several other senators expressing support for a constitutional amendment in floor speeches and press interviews. This amendment is similar to bipartisan proposals in previous Congresses. It would restore the authority of Congress, stripped by the court, to regulate the raising and spending of money for federal political campaigns. This would include independent expenditures, and it would allow states to do so at their level. It would not dictate any specific policies or regulations, but it would allow Congress to pass sensible campaign finance reform legislation that withstands constitutional challenges. In Federalist number 49, James Madison argued that the U.S. Constitution should be amended only on great and extraordinary occasions. I believe we have reached one of those occasions. Free and fair elections are a founding principle of our democracy. They should not be for sale to the highest bidder. I know amending the Constitution is difficult, and it should be. Last week, during the debate on the Disclose Act, Chairman Leahy said that we must pass that bill now because of the years and years that a constitutional amendment might take. The chairman makes a fair point, but those years and years started decades ago. There is a long, and I might add, bipartisan history here. Many of our predecessors from both parties understood the corrosive effect money has on our political system. They spent years championing the cause. In 1983, the 98th Congress, Senator Ted Stevens introduced an amendment to overturn Buckley, And in every Congress from the 99th to the 108th, Senator Fritz Hollings introduced bipartisan constitutional amendments similar to the one I've introduced. After he retired, Senators Schumer and Cochran continued the effort in the 109th Congress. And that was before Citizens United, before things went from bad to worse. The out-of-control spending since that decision has further poisoned our elections, but it has also ignited a broad movement to amend the Constitution. Across the country, more than 275 local resolutions have passed calling for a constitutional amendment to overturn Citizens United. Legislatures in 6 states, California, Maryland, Hawaii, Vermont, Rhode Island, and my home state of New Mexico, have called on Congress to send an amendment to the states for ratification. Many more states have similar resolutions pending. And as has been mentioned here, 1.9 million citizens have signed petitions in support of an amendment. More than 100 organizations under the banner of United for the People are calling for constitutional remedies. But an amendment can only succeed if Republicans join us in this effort. They have in the past. I know the political climate of an election year makes things even more difficult, but I'm hopeful that we can work together and that we can reach consensus on a bipartisan constitutional amendment that can be introduced early in the next Congress. We must do something. The voice of the people is clear, and so is their disgust. And with that, Senator Durbin, thank you for your courtesies on going a little bit over time. I would ask that I put my full statement into the record, and once again, thank you for this very important and timely hearing.
Thank you, Senator Udall.